joined now by Kurt Volker, who is a former US ambassador to NATO and special representative for Ukraine relations. Welcome to you. Thanks very much for being with us. So the US and Germany yet to make a decision on these Abrams and Leopard 2 tanks. What will it take to push them over the line, and should they be doing that, do you think?
Well, yes, of course they should be doing it. There's no reason not to. Russia has declared an all-out war against Ukraine, determined to eliminate Ukraine as a state, as a national identity, as a people. And with that, there's nothing to do but to help them defend themselves. So there's no reason not to provide these weapons. That being said, I think Germany is hesitating and pointing the finger at the US, saying, well, why don't you provide Abrams? The US is hiding behind technical reasons why Abrams are more difficult than the Leopard tanks. But frankly, we should both get on with it. The US should provide some token Abrams tanks. Why not? And we should unlock the German tanks, which are holding back not only Germany's contribution, but that of several other allies.
How important are these tanks for Ukraine in securing their ultimate objective of restoring its sovereignty and territorial integrity?
Well, everything is a piece of a bigger picture. So the tanks themselves are not going to be the magic wand that ends the Russian aggression against Ukraine. But if you don't have them, it is much harder to defend your territory and your cities and your civilian population than if you do. And if you do have them, you have a better chance of recovering the territory than if you don't. So all of these things add up. So it's not a magic wand. It's not some kind of magic bullet that the Allies are throwing at this. But the denial of this is just putting Ukraine in a weaker position where more people will be killed and more civilians will be attacked.
What do you think about the fear that and the threat from Russia that if these tanks are sent, that they will escalate and shift their position? I mean, many Ukrainians will say, well, how much further can they escalate this? Their people are dying.
Right. The key thing about listening to Kremlin propaganda is not to think about what they're saying, but ask yourself, why are they saying it? And right now, the Kremlin is giving two contradictory messages. One of them is to say that, oh, providing these things doesn't matter. It's not going to matter in the war whatsoever. That is in order to project a position of strength. The other message they're giving is, oh, this is an escalatory thing and we will have to respond. And that is a message designed to deter the West from acting. So we need to understand what their purposes are and not be fazed by the things that the Russians say.
What's your assessment of the state of the war at the moment?
I think that Ukraine has an advantage in terms of morale, especially, also trained personnel and equipment. And they are fighting for their homeland. They're fighting for their own territory. So they are not giving up no matter what. Russia is in a vastly different position. Its soldiers are former conscripts former convicts, as well as new conscripts who have very little motivation to be there, very little training. They've destroyed half of their conventional capability. They don't even have the personal military kit to give their soldiers. So they are in a very weak position, but they're trying to use the fact that they have more numbers in order to push for some kind of advantage that they can then claim towards a negotiation where they get to seize some kind of Ukrainian territory. I don't think it's going to work, but we have to make sure that Ukraine is equipped to push back on those Russian efforts.
Okay, Kurt Volker, former US ambassador to NATO, thank you.
Thank you.